And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Voices from the Grid. I'm Michael, and I'm being joined by one of my co-hosts, as always, the Red Ranger, Sasha Kaplan.
The fabulous, the amazing, the incredibly sarcastic, who always fights with you on the ratings of the episodes, Sasha Kaplan.
Okay, first off, everyone fights me on the ratings of every episode, but nobody cares about that right now, because what we need to say right now is the episode that you're actually about to listen to was pre-recorded, and then we had to redo the intros and the outros for reasons. And so if this episode that you're listening to sounds a little disjointed as a result of that, we do apologize, but we had to record new intros and outros. And with that said, we hope you enjoy the episode. We are now doing our first multi-part episode where we're not breaking the episodes up into multiple episodes, i.e. Green with Evil, but yet again that was 5 episodes, so it was actually worth it to have an episode come out every day in honor of that. And it also, with this new format of what we're doing for the show, where we're doing 2, maybe 3 episodes per episode, we're now able to talk about multi-part episodes in one big episode now, which is really nice and convenient to do. So today's episode, we're actually doing Island of Illusion Part 1 and Part 2. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for everyone's favorite segment. In my mind, it's the quick run-through of Island of Illusion, 2-parter. And we start off at the juice bar. Zach is dancing, prepping for the dance contest. And of course, as always, knocks a drink right into Bulk, who decides that he wants to get in on the action as well. Rita begins casting a spell, which Goldar mentions the Island of Illusion. Ooh, look at that foreshadowing there. Good job, Goldar. Good job. Some dance battling between Zach and Bulk goes down, and down goes Bulk. Zach's still lacking confidence before the competition. However, Rita summons Lokar to wreak havoc. The Rangers contact Zordon for info. Tommy rescues his students. The others search for Zach in return. The Rangers find Zach, then are attacked by putties. They morph to fight Goldar and Scorpina, but Rita finishes her spell, and good to Frankenstein back into a new form known as New Titus. Rangers summon their swords and form the Megazord. Rita introduces Lokar to the Rangers, and Zordon summons Tommy. Lokar mutates the monster, and the Rangers... now Lokar mutates the monster the Rangers were fighting, but here comes Tommy with the Dragon Zord. But the monster overcomes them and sends the Rangers to the Island of Illusion. The Rangers land on the island, but they're missing their morphers and communicators. And as they're walking around the island, they run into Quagmire. No, not the one from Family Guy. But we can make our jokes about it later anyways. Though he thinks they are friends of Rita, he runs off and he admonishes them. The Rangers face their first illusion, but then Zach sees a snake that the others can't see, and Zach starts fading away due to his lack of confidence, which then brings us into the Island of Illusion Part 2, which starts us off with Zach is still fading away, and Rita is pleased by what she sees, and quite honestly, Quagmire's a dick. I'm just putting it out there. He's a dick. The Rangers call upon Quagmire, who is happy they aren't friends of Rita, and then he aids the Rangers as Zach regains his confidence. Zordon and Alpha trying to contact the Rangers, but Alpha fries the computer instead. Good job, Alpha. Good job. It's now Kim's turn for an illusion, and it's Bulk and Skull as angels. Because when I think of Bulk and Skull, my worst nightmare that's going to cause me to lose confidence is Bulk and Skull as angels.
Nobody said Kimberly was the brightest bulb.
And then it's Tommy's turn, and he sees the others as putties, seeking his fear of, obviously, of when he was kidnapped by Rita. Then you have Trina as she fears she's next, and the fear of heights, which brings us back to the second episode of Power Rangers, which Trini was conquering her fear of heights. Next is Billy as he fears nothing really. Like, he doesn't have an illusion. He's just having self-doubt for whatever reason. Like,
this goes back to the producer shitting on David Yost, basically.
yeah, and language.
Sorry.
Lastly, it's Jason, as he doubts his leadership. Now we actually have something that makes sense between Billy and Jason, at least. It's the leadership. Jason was handpicked by Zordon to be the leader, and he doubts his leadership. They get their morphers back, and Rita is upset. The Rangers morph back into action, and they return to Earth and the Megazord. Another form of Super Megazord takes the fight to New Titus, and Titanus joins the battle as Ultrazord finishes the fight. Lokar gets away, and Rita is angry as a result. Bulk is embarrassing himself on the dance floor. -3, baby. How many contests have you seen somebody get a -3? It's normally just a 0, but -3. Good job, Bulk. That's a record right there. And then, of course, Zach is next and gets the perfect 10, of course. And, Quagmire is the DJ. Because he's Quagmire.
So I don't think Quagmire is a dick in this. I think he is, first of all, the fact that he talks in rhyme it's something else. But at the first, he thinks that they are Rita's allies. So of course he's not going to help them. When he realizes they are actually trapped there, I would guess, just like he is, he actually reaches out to help. But this is a really dumb two-parter.
Wait till you hear the score.
We'll get there. But it's a dumb two-parter for a couple of reasons. One, this could have all just been one episode.
They wouldn't have been able to pull that off.
First,
because part 1 is 20 minutes.
So here's the thing. You could have. First of all, you don't have to do the dance thing. You could have cut that.
You have to have something to a setup.
Not really. You could say that you could just have the first few minutes focus on Rita and wanting to use the Rangers' own fears against them, and then you have the Island of Illusion stuff. And it doesn't even have to be an island. She could just trap them somewhere. Like, that's been done before, or will be done before. But here's the thing, though. This is kind of an excuse to reuse some old footage, I think. Because you see a couple of scenes of the fears and like the moments from the past of how they overcame key moments of doubt that they had.
It's a clip show.
It's like I don't want to call it a clip show because there are not enough clips in it. There's only like 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. Kimberly's greatest fear is Bulk and Skull not being jerks. Like, what is that? Explain that one to me, because I do not understand.
Yeah. But honestly, let's be brutally honest here. And language, young lady, the worst one's Billy.
Yeah.
Billy, okay, maybe I could see Bulk and Skull being angels freaking her out and causing her like some anxiety over that, going like, this can't be. But when it comes to Billy, it's literally nothing. There's no illusion. There's no nothing. At least with and I use this in my run through with Jason, and even with Trini, you could throw that with Trini too. You know, no, because Trini was the fear of heights.
Yeah, Trini was the fear of heights.
Trini was the fear of heights.
Except the thing is, I would give that more validity if she actually saw, Zach sees a snake, but Trini doesn't actually see herself standing at a high point or anything. Well,
no, she's seeing Billy go at that high point, and she's freaking out like the way she did in episode 2.
Okay, fair.
So that's the thing. She's worried about Billy going up too high because she's afraid of heights and what could happen to Billy. And that's where her fear where her fear comes in. And that's what she had to fight, which she had previously done in episode 2. But
I feel like this also would have worked as an episode much earlier. Like, forget Tommy being in this episode. If it was just the original 5, I feel like this would have worked better earlier when they were still learning how to use their powers and fight evil. Because, like, oh, I'm still on Kimberly's whole thing. Like, oh, if Rita can turn Bulk and Skull good, she can do anything. It's like she managed to create her own evil Green Ranger and failed at it.
Well, she was pretty successful for a while.
She was successful for a while, but then ultimately the Rangers beat her and rescued Tommy. So, like, at this point, I don't understand how how Kimberly could see that and think, oh, like she in like the episode before this, she literally stole her grandmother's antique spinning wheel and turned that into a weapon. Like, come on, Kimberly.
But I still think the worst is Billy because he
10-10 the worst is Billy. Billy deserved better in all shapes and forms.
Billy didn't have an illusion. He didn't have a reason. He just went, well, I guess it's my turn now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let me partially disappear a little bit here.
Zach has always been more of a down-to-earth character, so is Trini. So their fears are quote unquote like realistic fears that we all have. And all of their fears are real.
Well, no, you can say the same with Jason. Because Jason was leadership.
To Jason separately though, because Jason's isn't so much just about being a leader in and of itself, because he's a great leader when it comes to leading karate, lessons and whatnot at the juice bar. But I think there's an underlyingness here of not only is he the leader, but he is the leader of a group of people that are fighting evil. That's a lot to put on a teenager's shoulder, Mr. Give me 5 teenagers with attitude.
Yeah. Give him that sass, Kim. Give him that sass.
It's I think this could have worked as a one-shot episode if you cut a couple of like the lesser things in. You could have even kept the dance thing.
Well, see,
I think this also could have worked more if it was a Zach-focused episode, because he was the character we saw at the beginning, even before all the Rita stuff, having issues with his confidence. Well, it's our lesson of the week, kids.
Well, I think the other thing is that this is also establishing something that's going to be happening later down the road, too. And that's Lokar. Because Lokar actually does come back later. So you need to actually... And in a way, Lokar does kind of retreat in the Sentai as well and then comes back later. So you're kind of establishing Lokar now, have him retreat, and then come back later. Because I think Lokar's thing is actually the Doomsday two-parter. So you're essentially establishing...
No problems with that.
Yeah, so I
think, Lokar works...
So in a way, the two-parter makes sense because you're establishing a new character that's going to be coming back, and you're doing stuff. So, any other notes on your end, Miss Sasha? She thinks heavily.
I liked Quagmire overall. I did. I'm looking into my notes here. I liked Quagmire overall. Him as a DJ at the end was kind of funny because as they were leaving the island, I'm like, are you going to leave Quagmire on that island?
Well, he lives on the island.
But we don't know if he's trapped on the island or not, like the Rangers were. Oh, also that should be noted is after they all go through their whole confidence thing, they magically all get their communicators and coins back because, the power was inside of them all along. And it's just like, my favorite part of this was Zordon knew exactly where the Rangers were being sent to automatically, but apparently did not have a way to get there or to communicate with the Rangers when they were there. Which,
when they don't have the communicators available to them, it's kind of hard.
But the thing is they had the communicators. They just didn't know they had them.
Yeah.
So I think this would have worked better if if part of it was, the Rangers get to the island and they're struggling and Zordon is trying to communicate with them and maybe he breaches through or maybe he doesn't, or it happens at the same time as this left a lot to be desired, I think.
Yeah. So you ready for times and score? Notice how I say score and not scores.
Do tell.
So part 1 was 20 minutes and 18 seconds, and part 2 was 1947 seconds. Both of them scored the same score on IMDb of a 6.6.
Really?
Yes. Now keep in mind, with Green with Evil, each episode of the 5-parter had a different score. This one has the same score for both episodes. When we get to Green Candle, I think that has 2 different scores to the episodes. I think Doomsday has 2 different scores to their episodes. So it's like people thought that overall,
I
both
still get too
episodes,
high rating for this episode, but
but a lot of people felt, and critics alike, felt that the 2 episodes together as a whole, and this is how I'm taking it as, that as a whole is a 6.6 out of 10. Because they both
no,
individually.
I understand the critics' logic, and I do believe that the 2 episodes should be judged more as one cohesive thing instead of 2 separate episodes. I just still think that's too high a rating for this episode.
Yeah.
And with that, Sasha, where can the people find you on the social media?
As always, geekgirl101.tumblr.com, at Geeky Captain on Instagram, and of course that place where I cry in a corner and complain endlessly about what writers are doing to my favorite characters. That's geekycaptainwrites.wordpress.com.
All right, and you can find me on the Twitters at the Lindenbaum75, at Facebook at facebook.com/x75productions, and of course everything is on the website at txhdhockey.com, and for this show specifically /VFTG, which is call letters for Voices from the Grid. So with that, Sasha, take us out.
There's only one thing left to say, and it is epic. May the Schwartz be with ya.
And until our next episode, grab your morphers and may the power protect you.
Yeah.